I cannot believe it. What hot garbage. You had a 5-run lead. You had a 4-run lead. You had a lead in the 9th inning, and Hector Neris, here goes, hits out the ass. And I've been pretty consistent on saying, and I still do believe this, it's not as if there's a billion options on this team where you could rely on. Archie Bradley is a name. Well, guess what? He blew one to you today with Kyle Schwarber and a home run on his second pitch. And I have no idea what Joe Girardi is thinking with half of these decisions. And I know after the game he mentioned he did not have Ranger Suarez and he did not have a few guys from yesterday, which ultimately did play a huge role, and there's a big domino effect. You don't expect to only get 3 innings out of a player like Zach Wheeler. That impacts today. At the same time, there's so many games that we can look at now from the Joe Girardi experience where previous games, the way that they work the bullpen just doesn't make any sense. And I tweeted this out after the game. I've said it before on this show. When you look at Gabe Kapler and Matt Klentak, 2 very inexperienced individuals, the franchise looked like an absolute joke and an absolute nightmare. Here comes Dave Dombrowski and Joe Girardi, proven winners, and the franchise looks like an absolute dumpster fire and a big-time nightmare. So, at what point is this maybe John Middleton and the analytical team coming together and forcing these people to make such horrendous decisions where it's over all of their heads? When I hear Joe speak, I almost sense a little bit of Doug Peterson. I feel like I see Doug P standing up there where he knew Jeffrey Lurie was forcing him to do all this nonsense. I wonder if Joe Girardi has that behind closed doors, because it's just horrible for it to be this way. You throw out a pitcher like Archie Bradley to go in against Kyle Schwarber. How does that make any fucking sense? David Hale, how does that make any fucking sense to utilize a player like David Hale? And all the decisions prior, even through the bizarre schedule and the off days on Fridays and the weird-ass pretty much layout that they have, they're off tomorrow. They were off earlier this week. Even throughout all these crazy-ass off days, they still find ways to have all these relief pitchers unavailable, which is just flat out pissing me off and setting yourself up for failure. So going to David Hale, what did you expect? His numbers when it comes to the bases loaded are tragic. So why in any world would it be anything different than that? Vinny V giving you classic Vinny V stuff. He looks great for a little bit of time. But then he also had some abysmal defense, which kept that 5th inning going, or 4th inning, whatever it was, where Brad Miller and Odubel Herrera end up running into one another out in center field. I mean, Vinny V gave you some strong play. He had a nasty changeup on Kyle Schwarber to get him earlier in the game. He had some really nice pitches. Then here you go. Here's the inning. Here's the one Vinny V inning where he starts to struggle. He walks a couple batters. He gets himself into trouble. And maybe Joe could have allowed him to go out there and work his way through the jam instead of going to your pen, knowing your pen was going to be limited and you didn't have all your options. Maybe even though I'm not telling you I had the most faith in the world that Vinny V wasn't going to erupt, because he probably was going to blow up even more than he already did, and it doesn't help when you don't have the defense giving your pitcher some advantages, right? I mean, it's just it's a joke how this team plays defense at times. You can't make this stuff up. And what eats me alive is this summer's going to blow. This team blows. This team is a trash team. And to think that they're going to be something different or go on a journey. You know, I was listening to the post-game show, and Michael Barkan was talking to Kruk during that crossover that they do, and they were basically talking about, are we silly? Are we fools to think that this team is somehow going to be in this race and they're going to somehow maybe be in a fight for this division? There's no way. There's no way. And I get it. The Braves are not good. And the Washington Nationals are not a very good team, even though they've been on a nice run in their last 10. And the New York Mets, they have so many injuries. Marcus Stroman being added to the list. All this. It's not like there's this pure team that you just know. When you look at the NL West, you know, no matter what happens with this Giants team, if they stay this way, they do. If they don't, they don't. But you know what the Dodgers are. You know what the Padres are. You know what the good teams are at the top of some of these divisions. Do you know what the Mets are? It doesn't matter because I know the Phillies are fucking horrendous. So last night, let's go to last night's game where it's 3-2 and your bullpen did an amazing job, a stellar job. If I go back through my notes here, if I go back to what we had here, Phillies lose 3-2, bullpen, Falter, Brogdon, Suarez, Bradley, and Jose Alvarado. All phenomenal. And they kept you in that game. Rhys Hoskins hits the home run. Now it's 3-2. You have yourself a fight. You have yourself a chance after Zach Wheeler went 3 damn innings. So your bullpen, phenomenal. Couldn't get a hit to save your damn life. Let's fast forward today, and you get, what was it, Stankowski, 3 of 4, who hit an 0-2 bomb, a 3-run bomb. Bryce Harper adds into the mix. Vinny V adds into the mix. You're not striking out at all. You're getting all these damn hits. But the previous night, you couldn't get a hit to save your life with runners in scoring position, and your bullpen was great. Today, you got Alec Bohm giving you 4 hits. By the way, in the month of June, he's hitting .371. So he was sensational. All these guys are getting hits blindfolded, but you can't stop the bleeding with your damn bullpen. Coonrod walking 3. He sucked today. So that's another option, by the way, for this closer role that everyone's trying to figure out. Coonrod sucked. Archie Bradley sucks. You know, I actually had an individual come at me on Twitter and go, why not Archie Bradley? Joe's an idiot. Why not why not Brandon Kintzler? It was Brandon Kintzler. And I'm like, what? Brandon Kintzler? And the argument the individual made was, you never know if someone's going to work as a closer until you try. Kintzler has a track record. I'm like, dude, what? Are you smoking crack? Are you smoking crack? This is what I said. He has an 8.50 ERA. Imagine a scenario where it's the 9th inning, it's a 1-run game, and Joe Girardi throws in Brandon Kintzler into the spot and blows it up. You're going to say, well, at least it wasn't Hector. Absolutely not. No way. You'd be ripping him into shreds. You'd be the first individual to say, get this clown out of here. There were a lot of questionable decisions out of Joe today. You just can't defend it. How about Castro in the 9th inning? You have a wide open base, and you can utilize a spot to get a better advantage. But instead, you don't. You can work around using some of their bench pieces, forcing them to be in an uncomfortable spot. And nope, we're going to go to Castro. I mean, what are you doing, Joe? It's like you forgot how to manage the game. And that's when it goes back to, it's so extreme and it's so obnoxious and he seems so oblivious that to a degree, there's got to be more to it. There's no way he forgot how to manage the sport of baseball this poorly. And I get it. National League compared to American League, it's a totally different concept. You're actually managing in one side of it. The other side, it's a lot different. But at the same time, I've seen this organization fail forever, and I've seen this organization be one of the worst organizations in all of sports forever, and a losing franchise where there's got to be a correlation with Gabe Kapler leaving and having the success in San Francisco and looking like an absolute moron here in Philadelphia. Joe Girardi winning in another organization, albeit it's the New York Yankees, but now this is 2 managers now, the last 2 managers that look like frauds, that look like they don't know what to do on the diamond at all, where it's got to be a correlation between what is being told of him to do and what's happening with John Middleton and maybe what's happening with the analytical team, where I'm not anti-analytics, but you could be applying the numbers the wrong way. You know, like, what are we doing with Kyle Schwarber? What are we doing with these lefties and we're throwing out righties on the mound? Like, what are we even processing information at all? What are the numbers? What is the data that we are looking at here? Because it's just crazy. 5 runs, 4 runs, and the blown save by Hector Neris. And yes, at this time, it is the moment where you have to look in another direction because Hector doesn't have it. I was willing to give him another chance, and at this point, I believe what they were saying, which is just absolutely bonkers, is 10 of 15. save attempts has just been in the gutter for Hector NERIS. So, at some time the line is just crossed. But I don't have faith for whoever it is. Jose Alvarado, I know he's on a nice little run. But, at some point he's going to become a disaster and get very wild. Start walking batters, maybe start hitting a few. So that's going to be in play. Coonrod, no. Kinsler, no. Archie Bradley, no. I don't really know what you have. I see some people on Twitter going with the notion of let's try Connor Brogdon. I mean, Connor Brogdon's having hard times to struggle through just normal situations. That's not a one-run game, and you knew just the way the whole thing played out. I know the 8th inning was awesome, where you got Urias to knock in a big run for you. It was Bryce Harper walked, JT Realmuto got a hit, so now it's 1st and 3rd. Miller with a really bad strikeout, questionable call for that strike two. It was close enough though where you at least have to protect, and he let it go right by him. Alec Boehm, Urias getting big hits, and Odubel Herrera did have a chance to even add on more runs to get that more satisfying feeling, if you will, that you feel a little more comfortable there, that you had a more comfortable lead. He could not do that. A couple tough days at the office for him. And you know how big this weekend is. You play the New York Mets, and at home at Citizens Bank Park, after going 2-4 on a West Coast swing, you lose to a Washington Nationals team. I mean, this team's not good. And what sucks is it's the center of attention. It's all we have for quite some time. And this is it. And I'm going to be honest with you. They're not drawing me in. And if they're not drawing me in, you're in trouble. Because I'm Mr. Baseball 101, okay? I'm Mr. Baseball. Give me every single damn pitch. Give me Max Scherzer stripping on the baseball diamond. Give me all these pitchers taking off their belt and these fools. Poor David Hale. David Hale had to get checked. They checked David Hale. David Hale got obliterated. David Hale, did you see the spin rate? The spin rate that got abused and waxed by all these hitters? Here's his stat line. What did he end up having? I even write it down. 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk batter. Here, David Hale, check to make sure I wasn't cheating. Check to make sure I wasn't cheating. I mean, Major League Baseball is a joke. You have Rizzo of the Nationals. He's going off about Joe Girardi, calling him all sorts of names on radio stations. It's become a big circus. I think that's the word that, man, I forgot his name yesterday, and I'm forgetting his name again. Shame on me. Ricky Bowe, the GOAT. Ricky Bowe used. It's a circus now all of a sudden, and it is. But it's just unbelievable that this is the product that we're seeing, and they're bad. They are a bad, bad baseball team. Nothing's going to change. Poor David Hale. And if you know that, well, not poor David Hale, actually kudos to him, because I don't know how he's lasted this long. But I go back to saying, if you're going to lose me, if this Phillies team is now going to make it where I don't feel engaged, I don't feel connected, I don't feel emotionally tied, you're garbage. That's what you are. You're losing a lot more. I mean, you just can't lose games like this, and they do. They do consistently. They lose a lot of these games. A lot of questionable decisions, a lot of poor bullpen today. Not so much yesterday, though. Yesterday, they kept you in it, couldn't get the timely hit, couldn't score runners in scoring position. Today, it's like, you're off Monday. You're off Thursday. Granted, you have a 4-game stretch against the New York Mets. You play Cincinnati. You have a little set after that as well. So I know a lot of games are coming up, but, all these pitchers are just all of a sudden not available for you. It's just bizarre. This whole thing is just bizarre. And we are now going to go to my friends over at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is not only my favorite sportsbook, but also America's top-rated sportsbook. I love using DraftKings Sportsbook. It's easy to navigate, has plenty of instructions for new bettors, and nearly limitless ways to get in on all the action. My friends and family have been loving DraftKings Sportsbook, and I know you will too. Listen to this great offer. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on any basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. That's promo code Brodes for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Wager paid out inside credits. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, so all around, I mean, Andrew McCutchen comes off the bench and slaps you a grand slam, but then you're also allowing Josh Bell to hit a moonshot, and to counter you. And, I mean, it was just an emotional roller coaster. That's for damn sure. You have the lead, you lose the lead. You have the lead, you lose the lead. And all these guys, I mean, you walk in so many pitchers. You have so many walks involved from the Phillies pitching staff. You're basically, I mean, that's just as bad as playing poor defense. You're giving extra outs. You're forcing the pitcher to have a higher pitch count. Now, the difference is, the pitcher, for the most part, that's an uncontrollable because it's the other guys out in the field. But in terms of how deathly it is and how it keeps things going, when you think about being a pitcher and walking all of those guys, it's just as damaging as keeping the inning going with what you're doing out there on the field if you're Brad Miller and Odubel Herrera. And as soon as I saw that, I put my hands up and I put my forehead right in my hands. I smacked myself in the face. You got to be kidding me with what this team is. That's not a winning brand of baseball. We're 71 games in, 70 games into the season, and that's all I know. Those type of mistakes, all I know. I'm watching Bryce Harper hit an opposite field bomb. I'm watching Jankowski do his thing, 0-2 count. A couple 2-strike hits, though, I thought were very important for whatever that is, And it's like, even if the Phillies were going to win, there was a time in that 8th inning where if the Phillies were still going to win and HECTOR NERIS closed the door, I was still so disgusted with what I saw and so upset with what type of baseball that I'm forced to watch that it almost still didn't feel right, even though that in my brain in that moment, I still thought, well, they're going to get this win. They'll squeak it out. If they do, I'm still not satisfied because of how it all played out. But there was another side of me that thought, here we go again. HECTOR NERIS, and the way that this game is being played out, they're probably going to blow it. So it was like a 50-50 split on my emotions and just kind of mentally preparing myself on how this is going to go. And it was crazy. It really was. All right, we're going to hit a couple anytime hotline calls before we get to the chat that's flying off because we are doing this episode live. But here we go, the anytime hotline.
Well, that sucks because this team sucks. Now that the Sixers is over, my attention is fully on the Phillies, and unfortunately, that's a bad thing. This rotation, this bullpen, Joe Girardi keep using David Hale, the worst of this bullpen. It just never gets old.
It does not get old. No, it does get old. It does get old. I think you said that the wrong way, which just confused me, but I'm very confused because my brain watches Phillies baseball every single damn night. I don't get it. I don't get this Joe Girardi thing. I mean, he looks to be one of the worst managers when it comes to some of these decisions that I've ever seen. And that's when I go back to, there's no way. There's no way it's this egregious. There's no way it's purely him going, I'm going to make the worst decisions over and over and over again because I know nothing about the sport of baseball. We know baseball has changed. We know that there's more impact in the front office. You can make the argument that the most important pieces to all this, to building a franchise, is not the manager. It's who's up top handing the manager all the information. What's Dave Dombrowski's role? What's he doing in there? We were told that Matt Klentak's no longer involved. What if he is? What is he doing? What if he is still somehow involved? Now, I don't think Dave Dombrowski would be here. There's no way he accepts the job if that's the case. But Dave Dombrowski also did mention a mixture between analytics and some of the old school feel. Well, are we getting some of these results because they're not using analytics? I'm just trying to look at this objectively and trying to find reasons why we are seeing what we are seeing on the diamond. Is it possible that they're just excusing their analytic department after putting all that money in there, that they're not even looking in that direction anymore, and they're going in a new way, and that's why you're getting righty-lefty. That's why you're not thinking on your feet the right way. That's why you're seeing things that seem so bizarre. Maybe they're going in the other direction, which I guess I can't rule anything out, but it's heartbreaking to know that I will never see good baseball again. What we had in 2008, 2009, 2010, that's rare. That's rare for this franchise. You don't get good baseball here. You just don't. All right, another call.
When we were up 5-0, all I see online is still going to lose, still going to lose. Up 9-5, all I hear is going to lose anyway, going to lose anyway. Up 12-11, top of the ninth. Okay, HECTOR is extremely inconsistent, and this bullpen sure missed Ranger Suarez because he was not available today. But to anyone who is negative even when we're winning, Well, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. You did not deserve to see a walk-off rally in the bottom of ninth, even if it happened. Thankfully, Suarez will be back for the crucial Mets series. I'm out.
Now, see, I think that because you call in all the time, right? And all you're worried about is what people are saying on social media. That's all you care about. That is like the only thing on your mind is what people are saying when the Phillies are up. They don't deserve. Fuck that. Fuck that. What we feel is all based on them sucking. It's their fault. It's not our fault. It goes back to this Ben Simmons thing as if, oh, you're the fan. You're supposed to give him a lot of comfort and support. Fuck no, I'm not. You're supposed to give me good basketball. You're supposed to not crumble in the playoffs. You're supposed to hit your free throws. You're supposed to do your job. So when the Phillies are up 5-0 and blow it, and you don't feel good as a fan, it's because they blow leads. When they're up 4 runs and they blow it, it's not my job to feel comfortable. It's their job to make us feel comfortable. What have they done? What have they done to make us feel like we are supposed to be in this mode where it's like, yeah, you know what? Fans should feel great. Like, what? No! And I feel that caller is way too invested in what other people are saying during the game instead of the game itself. If you want to enjoy the game, just enjoy the game. Think that they're going to win. Go ahead. Be that fan. You don't have to apply what other people are saying to how you are. If you want to take them out of your life and just think they're up 5 runs, we're going to be okay. This is a great baseball team, then do it. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? All right, let's go to some of the chats, some of the comments in the chat right now, because we are doing this episode live, as I mentioned a couple times. By the way, we are running a new Hump Day giveaway today, as it is Wednesday, and we're giving away an old school retro 47 brand maroon Phillies t-shirt. It's so awesome. Make sure you head to my Twitter at Brodes81. Maybe I could actually throw it up on the screen. I don't know if I can during the stream because I got to do a couple things, but I'll try as I'm just rambling on right now to push the right buttons as some of you are continuing to comment. So maybe I can hit buttons, and that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Nope, not a browser. It's an image. Let's throw this image up on the screen, shall we? Boom. There it is. So make sure you go follow me at Brodes81 to enter to win. All you have to do is retweet the tweet, and you can win a Phillies 47 Retro J. Or not J, excuse me, T-shirt. But anyway, getting back to like the decisions, the only guy left available in the bullpen was Matt Moore. And they're sending down guys to keep a player like Matt Moore. And what does Matt Moore bring to the table? Does Nick Maton bring more to the table than Matt Moore does? And we knew, by the way, this whole not having a lefty is going to crush you at the time to start the season. It was only, Jose Alvarado, and then JoJo Romero came in the mix. He got injured, and like you're very limited in that area. You have Matt Moore sitting in your pen. You're not using him. I don't blame you for not using him because he stinks, but what is his role? What is his identity? What are we trying to do here? Kyle Winter says, it's getting to the point for me where Girardi needs to be fired and Dusty should be promoted. Stop. You'd be saying the same thing, Kyle, about Dusty. There's so many issues here over Joe. And Joe Girardi, he has not even managed a full season yet. He managed 60 games last year, and they're at basically, 70 games this year. It's 130 games. He has not even managed one season of baseball yet, and we're ready to kick him out of town. And I got to do more research. I got to dig deeper because this organization has been failing way longer than Joe Girardi has been failing, and I've seen this franchise lose consistently. There's got to be more to it. I'm telling you, there has to be. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. God says, how is it a circus? Pitchers were cheating before, and the rule is rightfully enforced. Scherzer acting like he doesn't cheat. No, that's not reality of the situation. That's too naive to think of it that way. There's nothing wrong with using rosin and sunscreen. There's nothing wrong with using something that isn't spider tack just to keep yourself, a little more comfortable with the feel of the ball so you're not getting hit with 97 mile per hour fastballs and you're losing grip and this and that. Using some sunscreen and rosin, there's analytical data that will prove to you the difference in what these pitchers' advantages are using something like the spider tack compared to sunscreen and rosin, and using something that isn't cheating to that level should be allowed, and there should be a substance to help out these pitchers. Now, nothing's on the table. They've done it to such an extreme, middle of the season, cold turkey. I mean, it's just dumb. It's absolutely dumb. It is a circus. It's a huge circus. Andrew says, what happened to Chase Anderson? He's got to be better than Hale. I honestly don't even remember what happened to Chase Anderson. That's how irrelevant he is to my life. But if I Google Chase Anderson, I don't even remember. Was it just the fact where he just got yanked one day and he's still he's just like coming out of the pen at this point and they just never use him? I'm being genuinely honest when I'm saying I have no idea what happened to Chase Anderson. I truly don't remember at all. Brodes, rosin, and sunscreen doesn't make spin RPM right. Oh, yeah, no, spider tack. I'm not saying that yeah, sure, pitchers use that stuff. That's fine, but that's not the argument today. If you're trying to tell me that the MLB wants to ban spider tack and all, that's fine. I have no argument against banning a substance like that. The way they did this, though, the way they went about this, the way that they just snapped their fingers and now they're making players get naked on the field and take their belt off, and David Hale gets 3 hits, 3 earned run to walk batter and was absolutely abysmal and looked like dog shit, and he's getting checked for substances. I mean, you can't defend Major League Baseball for the disaster that they put in place and the circus that will now go on based off of the way that they approach this. It's not their end goal, and their thought on what they're trying to do is fine. It's the way that they handled it, the way that they approached it for this season, that's making it what it is. Where else are we here? Because there's a lot going on here. Scherzing was using advanced substances before. Okay, I mean, a lot of pitchers did. That really is nothing that I have anything to say about right now. I get it. Pitchers were cheating before. Yes, pitchers were cheating before. What more do you want me to say about anything other than pitchers were cheating before? I think the only thing that should be allowed is sunscreen, rosin, and sweat. Maybe. I mean, maybe there could be a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe they can come up with the substance that pitchers can use. They have it, and it's like only you can use this. Now, the only problem is there will be advantages being taken. Obviously, it's baseball. People bang on trash cans and put cameras out in center field and do a bunch of garbage to try and cheat and get an advantage. So if you give someone a substance, they'll probably toy with it and make it even worse. So that's where my concern is. But yeah, I mean, this is just going to be a laughing stock as we continue, and it's going to happen over and over and over again. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone so much for hanging out with me today. The Phillies lose 13-12. They are a horrendous baseball squad. I can't stand watching them. They make my eyes bleed, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're forced to watch this trash version of a baseball team, what they call themselves a baseball team, and it sucks. It really does suck. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.